Hey everybody, Donovan Ash from the Elevation Real Estate Group. I'm here with Tyler Schachter and Joel Schachter once again.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. So we're going to talk a little bit about buying a home in this market with the current COVID-19 restrictions and risks that are out there right now, as well as what's happening with the market. So we just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into that. Now, before we talk about that, let me just talk a little bit about what we tell our clients when they're buying at any point in time in any market. Basically, our best advice to our clients is to not really try and time the market because it's too unpredictable. The market goes up, it goes down, and nobody knows where it's heading next. We don't have a crystal ball. We have information and data that can give us an idea, but that's only an idea. It's not a sure thing. So it's risky to do that, especially with your primary residence. So what we tell people generally is to find a home that you like, that will work for you now and into the future at a price that you can afford the payments and you can afford to own that home for the foreseeable future. And if those factors are there, then go ahead and buy that home. And that's really what it comes down to. Real estate is an investment that usually people are looking at least a 3 to 5 year kind of time window. And in that 3 to 5 years, usually the market will ebb and flow, and you should be able to get out either ahead or kind of where you were in that time when you need to maybe upsize or downsize or move next. So that's our general advice. Now, Tyler, how does that differ from what we're advising people to do right now, or is it the same?
Yeah, just first of all, I want to touch on that advice. I usually share my own story. The first house I purchased was in summer of 2007. And if you were paying attention to the real estate cycles back then, you'll remember what happened shortly after 2007 was the correction of 2008. The market dropped 10% in 2008. And when I tell people that story, they always say, oh man, that must have been tough. You know, you bought that house and a year later it's worth 10% less than you bought it for. And I say, well, no, not really. I lived in the basement suite of that house. I rented out the upstairs. The rent that I was collecting did not change. My mortgage payment did not change. I was on a 5-year term. So the only thing that changed was my net worth on paper had gone down. But really, my living situation had not changed at all. My monthly cost had stayed the same. And of course, I rode through that correction and the market recovered over the coming years and did very well on that house. So just to reiterate what you were saying, we always advise real estate as a long-term hold, at least 3 to 5 years. 10 would be even more secure. If you find the house you like and you can plan to stay in it that long, then go for it, right? There's always risk in buying and there's risk in not buying. So life is always about risk management. And so what we're seeing right now, we don't want to suggest that we're, predicting doom and gloom and massive market crash happening out there right now. We also want to be realistic with what's going on in the world. The global economic shutdown, we see that locally as restaurants shut down, tourism virtually evaporated, retail stores closed all over. That's going to affect the economy on a broad scale here. So it would be naive to assume that that's not going to impact the real estate market in some way. So our tips to people that do need to buy in this market, and I say need because if you don't need to buy in this market, I would probably sit back and watch right now and wait until we have a little bit more information before rushing out in the middle of this storm and trying to make sense of it all. But if you've been evicted from a rental property prior to the restrictions and you need to find a place to live, you've been transferred. We have people who are moving into assisted living, out of assisted living. There are people that need to buy. So if you need to buy right now, or some of the tips we recommend is just plan for market uncertainty in there. And that means if the pricing you're seeing today, the comparables that we use to look at the activity in the market, the most recent sales, I would not be paying the same as the most recent sales. You're going to want to factor in uncertainty in your negotiations and make sure that you're covered for anticipated market corrections. Now, like Donovan said, trying to predict how much that market's going to drop and when we're going to see bottom, that's a risky scenario. But you just want to know that you're covering your bases and you're prepared for what could come over the coming months here, depending on how long this economic shutdown last for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think definitely negotiating with the idea that, you know, this could be a long-term thing. You have to definitely keep that in mind, because we don't know when the market will recover from this. Could be as far away as a couple of years out. We don't really know. Joel, you had a great point that you wanted to bring up about the different kind of procedures that we're seeing right now in terms of showings. If you're a buyer, you're probably getting some resistance at the door when you're trying to see properties. If not resistance, then at least some more intense protocols for cleanliness, hygiene, pre-approvals. Joel, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's happening there?
Happy to do that. Yes. So first of all, if you're a serious buyer out there, you actually will need to work with a real estate agent, because under the current health conditions and restrictions, nobody's going to let you walk up to the door and knock on their door and come in. And so, you know, you need to be connected with somebody who has access to the listings that are for sale, and they'll get you in, make the proper appointments. Second thing I'm going to tell people looking in this market, you need to have all your ducks in a row. You need to have your financing arranged, all the things you need, any legal advice you need to, you know, be aware of. Just set up so that when you're find the place that you think you'd like to buy, you're in a position to move forward on it quickly. Third thing is, you need to be prepared for a whole new protocol about going through a home. And some homes we can't even get into. If they're tenant occupied, the tenants currently have the right to tell you, no, you can't come through. So, you know, you're looking at it, you know, on pictures or a virtual tour, which is another point. Before you even go looking at a house and sort of taking that risk of telling that owner to clean up and get everything organized and maybe step out of the home so that they're not concerned about catching anything from you or you from them, you should do your best to see as much information as you can online. And so if they have available virtual tours or pictures, or you can you know, walk through the home with your mouse, some of the programs allow that, do it. And then make sure, you know, it's in, drive by the home first. Make sure it's in an area you want to be in. So frivolous showings are going to be really frowned on right now. You want the agents that your agent is trying to connect with to be respectful and know that you are serious and not somebody just kind of fishing out there in this kind of market. So when you do get to, when you see something that you've looked through online, as well as driven by the area, checked on things that make you comfortable to move to the next step, that final step would be actually walking through. And when that happens, you are going to have to sign some documents saying, you know, waiving responsibility in case you catch the virus or somebody in the home catches from you. You know, everybody needs to be aware of the risks. So you'll be signing some documents, and you'll be doing some protocols like washing your hands, not touching anything as you go through the house, hands in pockets. Kids not allowed to go through if they're, you know, not at an age to understand about distancing and not touching things. And your agent will be opening up all doors and cupboards and appliances and things like that. You won't be using washrooms or anything like that. So these are some of the things that are a little uncomfortable, but it's, you know, something we have to accept for the marketplace we're in at the moment.
Yeah, we used to take people out on buyers' tours. We'd send them a list of 10 or 20 properties that were available. They would pick 5 or 6 of them, and we'd head out on a Saturday and take a look at all of them. That's not happening anymore. We need to do a lot of pre-screening in advance, narrow it down to 1 or 2 properties that you think you would like. You've gone through the virtual tours, you've looked at the photos, you know that it's pretty close to exactly what you're looking for before you even step foot in that house. And in some cases, we've even heard of agents and sellers requiring an offer subject to viewing the property. You need to have an accepted offer on it before they'll let you in the house. So heightened security as of top priority these days, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think one of the best things that you can do as a buyer right now is find yourself a realtor that you trust, that is able to give you good advice and help you through this process. Obviously, we're here for you if you're one of our clients, and if you're not and you'd like to be, feel free to give us a call. If you have any questions about the real estate market, potentially thinking of buying something or making a move and you're just not sure of what to do, feel free to give us a call as well. We'd love to explore those options with you. At the Elevation Real Estate Group, we pride ourselves on 3 areas: education, evaluation, and negotiation. And so We like to just lay out all of your options for you and help you choose the best one that's going to fit your needs for you and your family now and into the future. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching this video. Joel and Tyler, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
See you guys later.